Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I watched my last video, to be fair, and I found myself extremely stumbling and fumbling and just completely not being my authentic self when speaking. So I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but as real as possible as well. And obviously, I don't have that much time. I just finished work, went to the gym, came home, ate something, and I'm now currently filming this, and then afterwards I'm gonna work to a couple of stuff regarding the business. But yeah, I thought about a lot of things that I might want to add, and especially things that I've also learned throughout the last few months in my current job. But this is probably I almost got in German, got switched to German, maybe for another time. But I realized that this might can wait a bit longer. But we're gonna talk about something different today, which is going to be what is better than winning. It's predicting the win and actually winning, because no matter what people say, every time, imagine, every freaking time in your life when you won and you weren't sure about the win, it felt good, but I can fucking guarantee you, if you are the type of person who says something, does it, and finishes the job, man, you're something different. And my whole life, even when I record these things, I was very shy. I was very, I was always trying to make everything perfect as a kid and as a teenager and as a young adult too. But I figured out that in order to even get good at something, you have to suck extremely hard at first. And this period of sucking is probably going to take longer than you expect. And the more you think about stuff and the more you try to make things perfect in the first attempt, second attempt, or third attempt, even, the longer it's going to take. And I've realized that a lot of people, especially from my circles, they are extremely talented, extremely smart, but one thing they lack is the ability to fail. And I never had that. At least after I finished school. Because even when I was in school, I was failing at a lot of stuff, but obviously I can openly say that I finished it perfectly fine. Let's put it that way. And after that, I came to a point where I was like, all right, there are a bunch of things in this life that I'm not good at, and I have the humility to just figure it out. And just by having that humility, I separated myself so freaking much from a lot of people who are extremely smart but are just not willing to fail. And I don't know. I obviously still I'm making these videos just to learn how to talk to a camera, obviously still, and these are not getting any views. But I just got to a point where I don't care. Like I genuinely don't care because I'm so confident in my abilities nowadays. I'm 22, and when I look back over the last 3 years, what I've done, and how often I've fallen down, and how often I've gotten back up after school, because there was a period in my life after school where I was just, I mean, I'm still obviously figuring things out, but at that time there was a lot more unknown variables. And maybe I'm going to, yeah, that's better. Oh no, okay. There were a lot more unknown variables than now, but I was extremely, I mean, here's the thing, I was always very certain and I was always very confident, to be fair. I always was very, very confident from the beginning. Maybe it was probably because of the loop I was in. I was to some extent winning or had some success or seen some success in my life where I was like, yeah, I did that well, I can do that also well. But there came a time where I was just not good at stuff. And the reason why I was not good at stuff was, first of all, because I was very shy. I couldn't put myself out there as much as I wanted to because I was like, you are this freaking talented, smart genius who, if he was just a little bit more humble to fail, could probably become one of the most famous billionaires in the world. And I mean that. Like, I truly mean that. And now, obviously, after a time period of self-discovery and the meaning of life and why are you doing this even and whatever, I was like, I mean, I gotta do something now, right? So we can't just we can't. There was a Shah Rukh Khan, one of the famous actors from Bollywood. I think he said something very genuinely good, which is everybody these days wants to be a philosopher. I might recommend them just to get freaking wealthy. I mean, he didn't say it that way, but just get wealthy and then you can do the philosophy part afterwards. Because in this day and age, everybody is so concerned about a lot of high level stuff when in reality their basic needs are not met yet, and their life basically sucks. And so I was very thoughtful with the actions I would take because I knew that if I committed to them, I would stick to them like for decades. And so I was deciding between those paths, and I was very confident in my abilities, and still I didn't know what to choose. At some point, I said, fuck it, you have to choose something. And obviously, this is also part of the equation, which was why I'm already a little bit more ahead than I was a couple of weeks ago, months ago, with this channel, job, everything, business. At some point in your life, you just realize that you have to just fucking let go. You just have to stop trying to control everything and just let go. And just focus on the things, first of all, you have. Focus on the things that you can control, and focus on the present moment. A mix between the present moment and the future. And my neighbor is doing some freaking... I don't know what noise that was, but I don't know if you heard it or not, whatever. These things are very important, I've realized. And what I've also realized over the last few years and throughout my lifespan now is that for me personally, as I already said, winning is something, and obviously it's cool, and you have to be to some degree mental to even go beyond what is expected and what average people do. And there comes a lot of things people might want to add at this point: trauma and this and that, and just the sheer negativity from which those goals are created, and basically the desire to prove something. And I would say to that, if you have those things, which I probably do, I was bullied in school a lot. And I've had so many negative experiences that I will also talk about in the future probably, that led me to where I am right now. But I've just gotten to a point where I feel like every freaking day I just get more bulletproof. And I usually don't like to just speak things out, because I can talk a lot when I want. And there are times where I don't speak at all, but I can talk a lot. And I don't, at least from the last few years, I realized that I would rather just do the thing and talk about it less. But I'm just at a point where I don't care anymore. Like, I genuinely just don't care anymore, which is the first thing that is also going to help you if you are doing anything significant with your life, where you're going to come across resistance and come across a lot of belief barriers that you have in your mind regarding failure, shame, putting yourself out there, negativity, hate, whatever, because it's going to come at some point. And I've just gotten to the point where I just don't care. And I would rather predict the win and win than just win, because it's more fucking fun. And yeah, you obviously might want to say, this is a little bit more egotistical, and why are you doing this? And as I said, you can do as much philosophy as you want, but we just have a couple of short years on this planet, so you might as well just do whatever the fuck you want, and you go after it. Like, you generally should go after your goals, and don't waste time. Don't waste time on meaningless pursuits. Don't waste time on friends that are not aligned with your goals. Don't waste time chasing women. Don't do anything that can harm you, because in the first couple of years of going out of school, I realized that I was kind of in a sequence where life was just passing by and I wouldn't see really, I couldn't track where I was going. Like, if you don't keep track of your day-to-day goals, activities, habits, or weekly, monthly, yearly goals, you just spend your time around just doing meaningless activities, and click, 5 years gone by, 10 years gone by, and you're 30. And I would rather suck at this being 22 than at fucking 32. Just gonna say it. And I just feel so good, man. Like, I genuinely. The last video I posted was about money won't build your character, and that is truly true. I asked a couple of colleagues of mine the last few days, like, if I was going to give you $30 million right now, I wire it to your bank account straight ahead, what would you do? And this question I ask myself obviously a lot, because once you think about those things and realize that even if you have money, there is still going to be, like, your unconscious is going to want to expand some way. One of the reasons, or probably the primary reason why a lot of people get wealthy, is because their unconscious wants to expand and they choose that way. Some people choose art, some people, I don't know, do sports, some people do just anything that expands their unconscious. And I asked them that question and I was like, what would you do? Not like, I would buy this, like, what would be the first thing you do? Some guy said, I would go to the park, I would just think about and just enjoy the moment, and maybe think about a strategy, how to put that money away, let it compound, etc., etc. And then I was like, it always, in the end of the conversation, I was like, what now? You got $30 million, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to wake up and you're just going to eat, and just going to spend your time doing nothing, meaningless pursuits, having, I don't know, a bunch of sex, eating, sleeping, sports. Like, is there any meaning to your life? And I think that is very important for people, especially young people nowadays, to understand, and obviously men, but also women, is that it really doesn't matter where you are in your life. Even if you are a freaking billionaire, you need meaning to some extent. Some people find it in God, some people find it in their work, some find it in their hobbies, activities, but you need to be on something. Because if you let your consciousness or unconsciousness or your thoughts or your whole being drift away, you will get to the point where you are so lost and you end up doing some drugs or drinking a lot of alcohol or having a bunch of activities that are going to ruin your health and basically kill you. And with all that said, you have to get also to a point where you just let go. And it was very hard for me to just let go, because I am the person. Now, I obviously don't mean just let it go and just let your life fumble around and go around and just don't do anything. But like, you have to, as I said, focus on what you have, focus on what you can control rather than what you can't control, and focus on the present moment, a mix of the present moment and the future. Because if you focus your bandwidth, especially in this day and age where your attention is flowing around left and right and center, not on the things that are meaningful and that you can control, and just let go of the other stuff, you're going to also end up nowhere. Because I am the person that obviously tries to control as many things simultaneously as possible, which is a good thing to some extent. But there are sometimes things in your life where you might even get an illness. I, for example, have an operation coming up and I can't do anything about it right now. As much as I worry, as much as I try to concern myself with how it's going to go, how long the recovery is going to take. Like, don't, just let go. Just let go. Look me in the eyes. Let go. And focus yourself on the things you can control. I started this video with kind of a message and where I was wanting to go, but I always just end up talking about some stuff that is interconnected and linked, which is quite a good thing to do. But I want to come back to the point which I said from the beginning, which is, as a child I was very shy, As a teenager, I was very shy. And as a young adult, I also was very shy. And I've gotten to the point, now obviously a lot of people would say, you're not shy. If I was going to ask myself, if I was going to ask a lot of my friends, they would say, you're not shy. You're an extrovert. And the truth is, I became that. But I wasn't like that. I wasn't the guy who could just speak. I wasn't the guy who could deal easily with rejection. I couldn't. I waited 13 years to ask out a girl that I truly liked, let's put it that way. 13 years at the end of high school. I just couldn't because a lot of people think that great ego is good, and it is to some extent. Obviously, you have to have an ego, otherwise you just like, there is a mixture, but you need the humility. You need to be humble. You need to be humble, otherwise like you're not going to be able to do anything in life because you're going to fail. And you need to be humble to understand that no matter where you are, you're going to deal with loss, you're going to deal with rejection, and you're going to have to learn from your failures. It doesn't matter if you are at 10K a month, 100K a month, or even a freaking billionaire. Now, what I'm trying to say is, I usually didn't want to just say stuff in the world because I was afraid of not achieving it. But I've gotten to the point where I just, first of all, don't care. And secondly, there is absolutely no fucking way that I won't achieve my goals and become super fucking great. There's just no way. Like, you're going to have to kill me. There's going to have to come a meteor. I don't know what. But if you don't kill me, if not some majestic godly power gets me out of this universe, there's no fucking way to stop me. And I would rather say it now, because in 10 or 20 fucking years I'm going to watch this again, and it's just going to be great. And it is very important to eliminate self-doubt, because self-doubt is the killer. Just one moment of self-doubt and you're spiraling this way down. Because here's the thing. Let's say you have self-doubt and you lose. Like, you lost. Let's say you don't have self-doubt and you lose. You lost. What I'm trying to say is, by not having self-doubt, by believing in yourself, by actually going out there and thinking, my apologies, believing that you're going to achieve this, you make the luck surface area higher. Because here's the thing, you either achieve it or you fucking die and don't. Nobody's going to care anyway. Even if you achieve all your goals, nobody is truly going to care. Maybe there might be an odd moment where somebody's like, wow, wouldn't have thought that. I mean, I would have thought that he's going to do something, but not like this. But after a second, after a moment, even that is gone. So do it for yourself. If a younger guy watches this video, which is also one of the reasons I'm doing this, because even though I'm 22 years old, I like the idea of my 18-year-old self seeing this video and just learning it. Because, I mean, that's also basically the way we evolved as a species, right? Just passing on information. But it also just feels great to give it away. Not like in a way that you might be able to beat me, you're never going to beat me, but still. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I just watched the last video. I was very tired in the last video, but I just watched the last video. It just wasn't me. So with that being said, we're breaking already the 20-minute mark. We're going to stop right here. I have to do a lot of work right now and obviously upload this video. But it was great to put this out again, and yeah, it's currently 10 p.m. There's no fucking way I'm gonna lose. Like, which freaking idiot does all of this? Who? I don't know anyone. Maybe on the internet there are a couple of freaks. But not in my near... Oh, maybe there's one. Oh, although, I don't know if even he could do it. However, 20-minute mark is done. That being said, have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Bye. I need a thumbnail, sorry. I need a thumbnail. I need to center myself in the position. I have to click it anyway. Fuck it.